The following is a suicide message from the producer of the Battery Operated Magic Toupee, the podcast, in an attempt to guilt and shame listeners who refuse to subscribe and like the Battery Operated Magic Toupee.
Are you listening to this? I will kill myself. I will off myself by the stupidest death possible in a way befitting the producer of a terrible comedy podcast. I have stuffed balloon animals in my anus. The balloon animals were created by a clown named Bodildo the Clown. It's funny how clowns always have the same last name, the Clown. Balloons of a doggy, a giraffe, and a moose are all stuffed in my poopy pipe. And when I fart, the balloons will explode. So if you don't immediately subscribe and like, screw listening. I don't care if you listen. I just need subscriptions and likes. If you don't like and subscribe, this is what's going to happen.
The Battery Operated Magic Toupee, the podcast. Journey to dimensions of existence even more moronic and idiotic than ours. Alternative universes of such stupidity that we've constructed the Battery Operated Magic Toupee. Warning! The following comedy is intended for mature audiences and for those not easily offended. If you're of a delicate disposition and offend easily, for example, if we refer to you as a silly cunt, we recommend stop listening immediately, cancel us now, and fuck off. And off we go to the Battery Operated Magic Toupee Control Center. Control Center, engage. Multi-dimension navigation calculated. Multiverse circuits on. Battery Operated Magic Toupee, initiate connection.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Battery Operated Magic Toupee, the podcast. Do you wake up in the morning knowing your job is a complete sham? You're unfit for work, and you're making a bad product even worse, and that the company stock would go up if you didn't wake up in the morning? Well, you might be the program director for LCD, the lowest common denominator network. On the next, yes, it's another morning, the program director for LCD, the lowest common denominator network. We forgot his forgettable name, but he'll be here, and he'll discuss his latest unpublished memoir, My Rise to Almost Mediocrity. He'll give such tips as eat more roughage. And when you're unable to think of anything intelligent, give some well-tried advice as eat more roughage. All this and more on the next, yes, it's another morning, but first. A whole new season of programming on LCD, the lowest common denominator network. We will not lower our standards this season, as we have no standards left to lower. Thrilling detective drama this season on LCD with the new crime fighter detective, the action man of thought, not of action, the thinker.
Follow the thrilling adventures of Harold Aloysius Thinker, the great detective known as the Thinker, as he solves thrilling cases through his extraordinary ability of thinking.
The villains have left this note. We have 2 hours to act, and if we don't give in to their impossible demands, they threaten to kill all the hostages. I don't know what to do. Well, luckily I've called in the only man who can solve this case and extract us from the hot, sticky water we're in. You don't mean? Exactly. The Thinker.
Enter Harold Aloysius Thinker, known as the Thinker.
Thinker, well, thank God you're here. We only have 1 hour left before the hostages are murdered. What do we do?
Suddenly, the superhero known as the Thinker goes into super thinking mode.
What's he doing? He's just sitting there with his hand under his head like that famous bronze Rodin statue. The Thinker. Yeah, that one. What's the Thinker doing? He's thinking. Look, he's just sitting there for half an hour now. Shush, quiet. He's thinking. It's what he does. But the hostages that let him think. We're running out of time. Shush, he needs to think. We need to act right now. The Thinker is thinking. But we've only got 5 minutes left. Shush, this is his super gift. He'll think of a solution. But they'll die if we don't. Shush. Throat clear. Shush. Have faith in the Thinker. Well, I don't think we need him anymore. It's been 4 hours. The hostages were killed 2 hours ago. They blew up the building and they got away. Thinker, thank you for your service. New game shows on LCD. A brand new season of Press That Buzzer, the game show for people who don't understand game shows and are confused by them. Do you find game shows too complicated and the rules difficult to understand? And often there are these complicated questions being asked and you just don't know the answers. Well, you get the idea. Quiz shows are just too difficult. That's why at LCD we made game shows easy again with Press That Buzzer. The rules are simple. All you need to do is press the buzzer. Okay, first round for 1,000 pounds. Correct! Excellent buzzing, contestant 1, for 1,000 pounds. And next, correct, contestant 2, 1,000 pounds. And that means the next round is for a whopping 10,000 pounds. Correct, and contestant number 1 has won a total of 11,000 pounds only on Press That Buzzer. Coming to LCD. The most daring challenge in the history of broadcasting. I'm producer Maldred Quinlan. I'm a producer who takes chances and is always up for a challenge. Earlier in the year, I took on a very special challenge. I would go to a local bookshop, blindfolded, and select one title at random. And whatever that book turned out to be, I would make it into a feature film for LCD Film. Well, that book turned out to be Diseases and Maladies of the Anus by Quincy R. Cabbage. So this season we'll premiere our new feature film, Diseases and Maladies of the Anus, starring that great veteran of stage, Sir Gladwell Wiggins, as an infected hemorrhoid.
Good Lord, the topical creams and ointments aren't working. I'm afraid I'll need to be handled with a hemorrhoidectomy.
Dame Emily Frankfurter as the anal fistulas, which suffer the fate of draining the abscess.
I am drained. I am exhausted.
And in a rare dramatic performance, comedian Barry Margo is bombarded by chemotherapy as he portrays cancer of the bowel. Oh boy, the radiation is burning my O-ring. Burning! Diseases and Maladies of the Anus, only on LCD. Nostalgia on LCD with a new series of Grandpa Putkin's Homespun Tales. A new series of genuine homespun tales as only Grandpa Putkin can tell them.
I remember we were so poor we had nothing. We couldn't even afford paper, the paper we put in the private place to clean our, that's how poor we were. We had a dog. Our dog was named Papery, and once a week you'd have to throw old Papery in the river and give him a wash, because the rest of the week we'd use old Papery for our tissue for the nether regions. We'd go to the outdoor convenience and do our confidential business, and then you'd need to find a clean patch on old Papery and, clean yourself. Old Papery was a smart dog. She'd know what was coming. Once a month, Daddy would indulge in a curry and Papery would run away, but we'd find him. And we'd know the end of the week was coming before Papery's river bath, because we'd start to run out of room. And you knew if you made it to the tail or the ears or even worse, the tongue, it was time for old Papery to be thrown back in the river.
Thrilled to the wisdom of Grandpa Putkin's homespun folksy tales.
Yes, animals were convenient then. Our cat, old Rubbery, made the best condom. Why, if it wasn't for old Rubbery and the smug fit, Mother and Dad may have had 10 more of us.
Politics on LCD, with the groundbreaking, fair, and completely unbiased political show, Balanced Political. Welcome to Balanced Political. Most news and politics programs are heavily biased or downright speakers for the left or the right or the center, or heavily weighed in some direction, as opposed to being balanced and fair. This is a show where we speak equally for the right and for the left. This week, the controversial changes to taxes that the government is currently driving through the House. On one hand, this is shocking, disgusting. The present government has broken every promise it's made. It's destroying the country and everything it stands for. We're headed for bankruptcy and rising inflation. We need to revolt and drive this pack of criminal vultures out, but not before we tar and feather these shiftless, lying, stealing cocksuckers. On the other hand, isn't the present government just doing a fabulous job? This government with a great record of keeping its promises, wages are going up, inflation dropping. They're just making our great country great again. I say we throw our support around them and show them our appreciation and thanks. Next week on Balanced Politics, the new trade minister. On one hand, one of the most dynamic individuals to make his mark on the political scene. On the other hand, a corrupt pedophile with poor hygiene. Battery Operated Magic Toupee. Switch to shameless begging for sponsorship mode. Initiate. If you're a subscriber, many thanks. We love you and appreciate your generosity. And if you're not a subscriber and you like the podcast, subscribe to us on the Battery Operated Magic Toupee podcast Patreon page for the uncensored and ruder full-length episodes, exclusive content, special events, offers, and even more cool shit. We aim to give you original, uncensored, well-produced comedy, and that costs money. You can also purchase the book, The Battery Operated Magic Toupee by Elliot Stein on Amazon. And you can visit our webpage at BOMT.UK. That's BOMT for Battery Operated Magic Toupee.UK.
And now we return to
The Battery Operated Magic Toupee, the podcast. Battery Operated Magic Toupee multi-dimensional circuit. Upload more crap. And the on-air drama continues on LCD. with the airing of an important landmark legal ruling.
Earlier this year, in a historic precedence, actor Frederick Fleahive successfully sued the Royal Shakespeare Company in a groundbreaking case, citing that the RSC discriminated against him on grounds of having no talent. Being a terrible actor who does not speak clearly or intelligibly at all is a violation of protected characteristics. Fleahive won the historic decision, thereby making people of no or poor artistic talent a protected class, a group legally protected from discrimination based on their specific characteristics of having no talent. As part of the conditions of this landmark legal ruling, the Royal Shakespeare Company has agreed to cast Mr. Fleahive in an upcoming season of classics, all directed by the company's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer, since people who work as Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officers are now also a protected class. LCD proudly presents the televised event of this new season of the RSC, starring Frederick Fleahive. We begin with Fleahive's thrilling rendition of Hamlet.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it's nobler in the mind to suffer the swings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to lie, to sleep, no more, and by your sleep to say, we end!
Followed by Frederick Fleahive's much-talked-about turn as Nicky in Noel Coward's The Vortex.
Do forget what I've seen tonight, Mother. I've seen you make a vulgar, disgusting thing in your own house, and on top of that, humiliate yourself before a boy half your age.
And we continue with Frederick Fleahive's rendition of Maria from Stephen Sondheim and Leonard Bernstein's West Side Story, filmed on the very week when he identified as a Spanish woman.
I feel pretty. Oh, so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and bright. Am I pretty? Any girl who isn't me so nice.
Frederick Fleahive, live from the Royal Shakespeare Company, only on LCD.
Want inspiration? LCD has it in buckets with a whole new season of Inspiring Heroes.
Today on Inspiring Heroes, we have Miss Emily Fergus. Most people talk about wanting to do something about racism and anti-Semitism, but most don't actually do something about it. Well, not Emily. Instead of just talking about it, Emily chose to not talk about it, literally. Emily has taken a vow of silence until there's a transformation, and she's on her 200th day of her vow of silence. Thank you for coming today, Emily. Emily, what's it been like to have taken a vow of silence for 200 days? Yes. Yeah. I don't think we thought this one through. It sounded like an inspiring idea of what you were doing, but I don't think we thought this one through. Well, thank you, Emily. That was inspiring. Let's go on to our next guest. Yeah, Emily was our only guest tonight. Well, I guess that's the show, and that's the great work of our production coordinator. He books the guests. A mentally challenged 5-year-old could have seen this one coming, and maybe we'll have a mentally challenged 5-year-old produce the fucking program. And right on top of last week's train wreck, having as our guest Evelyn Filthwater, the holder of the Guinness Book of World Records for the most uncontrollable flatulence. We had to evacuate the studio. Yes, that was a thrilling program. Couldn't see anything with the cameras shooting through the fog.
Documentaries on LCD. Following on from the popular fitness fad of urban running, Jake Smensch takes the concept to a whole different level. Urban fucking.
I realize that I'm a very sexually active man, and that my sexual urges cannot be confined to just people, so I'm an urban fucker.
Follow Jake Smensch through a typical urban fucking session.
Well, I make my way onto the high road, and remember, any hole is an opportunity for forbidden. And oh, we've got a post box over here. Now, many people think all you can do with it is deliver letters through the slot, but I'm gonna lower my special elasticated trousers. Oh, I love that post box. Oh, send that special delivery.
Jake, do people object to having their letters and parcels covered in your
Love juices? No. I think the public can sense the sexual energy swimming literally around the letters and parcels. Some people are a bit annoyed with the postcards being smeared, but that car! Ooh, look over there! That car! The exhaust pipe!
Some have criticized your commitment to the green movement by your only having it off with petrol vehicles.
And that's why petrol cars are better than electric. Electric cars don't have an exhaust pipe.
Witness Jake walking through a forest.
Many people just walk by a tree with a great knothole like this. But this is what I call nature's woo-woo. Woo-woo-woo-woo-woo-woo-woo.
And witness Jake's encounters with the police who crack down on urban fucking. You, all the way up there on that tall flagpole. Take the flagpole out of your... That's disgusting. There are people down here becoming visibly sick by witnessing what you're doing. Extract yourself from the flagpole and come down. Yes, urban fucking, only on LCD. Western drama on LCD.
The story of Hank Perve, nicknamed the Perve Kid, the cowboy who liked his horse just a little too much. Join us for the adventures of Hank Perve and his trusty horse, Rusty T.
Perv Kid, the BJ gang are back in town and you're robbing the bank.
I see. Be right with you. Just need to get in the barn with my horse for a moment and adjust the saddle.
Don't do that. We'll watch your horse.
I really need to take Rusty T in the barn and adjust the saddle. I'll be right out.
Adjust the saddle? It's a euphemism for... Do you hear any noises from inside the barn? It's just creaky barn noises. Doesn't sound like creaky barn noises. Creaky barn noises.
Yep, the adventures of the Perve Kid, the cowboy who liked his horse just a little too much.
All this and more, only on LCD, the lowest common denominator network.
Battery Operated Magic Toupee. Upload stop.
disengage.
As we gain a higher understanding of stupidity, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. Hence we bid farewell to the Battery Operated Magic Toupee, pooting and spooing and farting thick brown smoke as it dimly staggers from reality to reality on its moronic mission.
You have been listening to the Battery Operated Magic Toupee, the podcast. It was performed and was written and produced by Elliot Stein. Copyright 2026. Gargoyle Entertainment. If you're a subscriber, many thanks. We love you and appreciate your generosity. And if you're not a subscriber and you like the podcast, subscribe to us on the Battery Operated Magic Toupee podcast Patreon page for the uncensored and ruder full-length episodes, exclusive content, special events, offers, and even more cool shit. We aim to give you original, uncensored, well-produced comedy, and that costs money. You can also purchase the book, The Battery Operated Magic Toupee by Elliot Stein on Amazon. And you can visit our webpage at BOMT.UK. That's BOMT for Battery Operated Magic Toupee.UK.